we're hearing now this is not a training exercise. You can see there are tugs at the fore and the aft of the craft. That normally means it can be positioned more adeptly and speedily than the Dragon can do herself. It has all the hallmarks now. This is not a training exercise. At long, long last, HMS Dragon will be sailing to join the fleet in the Mediterranean to provide some much needed, and I have to say, belated Johnny-come-lately cover to the airbase there at Cyprus. Samel Stride, you're with us today. Of course, one of the huge conversations is the price of petrol. This is all about now securing the oil through the Straits of Hormuz. And the Conservative Party today, I believe you're acting on trying to make sure the price of the petrol at the pump stays affordable for British motorists.
Yeah, well, Martin, one of the things we did when we were in government was for 15 consecutive years, we froze fuel duty. And in fact, on 2 occasions, we actually cut it and didn't put it back up again. We are now facing a government that is saying that as from September, they will, for the first time in 15 years, be putting up fuel duty. It's the wrong thing to be doing at the wrong time. We've got pressure on the price of petrol at the pumps. People are feeling the squeeze. It could well get a lot worse than it's going to be over the next few days and weeks. And we think they should think again. So we are actually praying against what's called a statutory instrument, which is a legislative vehicle for bringing that change in, and we will be resisting it in the House of Commons. We've got a national petition running at the moment that is getting tens and tens of thousands of signatures as well. And we're going to do all we can to resist this increase.
Sir Mel, super. Now I have a guest waiting, but Chris, you got a quick line for us?
Just for Mel Stride. Sir Mel, we were told today in the briefing with the PM spokesman that they are aware of the issue of fuel duty, but they won't act outside of a budget, which implies that this will change as expected at the end of August. Or can she act outside of a budget, and will she do so?
She can act outside of a budget. She could withdraw that statutory instrument. She could support us in opposing it if she really wanted to. But of course, the budget will be almost certainly in November, and all of this is going to start kicking in September. So she needs to get her skates on. But we are keeping up the pressure, Chris.
OK, thank you, Samel. Thank you, Chris. Chris, keep over the new lines coming out for us. It's happening thick and fast. Just a reminder, live pictures on your screen now. It's moving. There we go. HMS Dragon, hurrah!
Hurrah!
Anchors away. Beautiful sight. HMS Dragon finally moving off the coast of Portsmouth. Rule Britannia. Look at it. It's magnificent. It might have taken a long while to come, but what a sight. Let's get my next guest in now. It's the naval analyst and the director of the website Navy Lookout, Pete Sanderman. Pete, you join us at a magnificent moment. Finally, HMS Dragon, she's away.
Indeed. It's good to see her sail. Lots of people have been working very hard round the clock for the last week or so to get her out. This time last week, I believe she was still in dry dock, so they've done amazingly well to get her out.
And Pete, just want to repeat what we've been saying all along. We can see now the sailors on the back deck there lining up. Procedure Alpha, I believe that is called, a part of the heritage of a ship leaving port, so they can wave goodbye to their loved ones as they leave the port of Portsmouth.
Indeed, yeah. It's tradition when ships go on a major deployment for them to do Procedure Alpha on the way out and on the way home.
And Pete, we must remember here, despite the fact we've been very critical of the leaden-footed politicians, those on deck, those on board, those serving king and country, they'll be itching to get sailing, they'll be itching to get out there.
Absolutely, that's their job, that's what they train to do. Certainly morale will be high, they'll be keen to get on with the job. Obviously, this ship is in the national spotlight. They're keen to impress and do what they can. Obviously, it's going to take time to get to the Eastern Mediterranean. What the situation will be in 5 or 6 days when she might get there, who knows? But it's certainly good. Now, whether she should have gone earlier is, that's very debatable. Her main advantage is that she can provide ballistic missile defence. If Iran should fire ballistic missiles at Cyprus, whether that'll be the case, I don't know. So far, I believe they've been attacked by much slower drones, probably fired from Lebanon by Hezbollah. Now, there are obviously assets on Cyprus that can intercept those kind of drones if they're given enough warning. But the destroyer is the A-grade air defence solution. She her sister ship served in the Red Sea in 2023 and 24, shot down Houthi drones. So they're well proven and capable of intercepting ballistic missile and drone threats.
And that's the point, is it not, Pete Sanderman, that a craft such as this just has more firepower to be able to intercept those higher speed projectiles being sent in by the Iranians. Drones are one thing, drones are slow moving. They're cheap, but they're slow moving. They can be taken down by helicopters, even from the ground. But if an intercontinental ballistic missile is coming your way, you need something like HMS Dragon on your side.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, this is the high-end option. I would also point out she has very, very good sensors. That spinning ball on the top, the Samson radar, which is part of the Sea Viper missile system, is certainly a world-class system that can see a very long way, can track multiple supersonic, hypersonic targets, and cue the Aster missiles, which are, again, very, very effective, although very expensive.
And Sir Mel Stride, just to bring you back into the conversation here, there's been a spiky relationship, has to be said, between Sir Keir Starmer and Donald Trump. We heard that Donald Trump said if the craft came, he didn't really want them. They were too late. Nobody likes people who join a war late. Some might say it's a bit rich coming from the Americans, going back to the 1940s. I digress. But surely now, when this magnificent sight reaches over the pond, they'll be delighted at the fact that Britain is finally deploying.
I think it is too late to restore the relationship in the short term, because I think what America looked for was at that acute moment when they went in and they wanted that support from their key allies. The reality is it wasn't there. And I think in dealing with President Trump, he is of a particular emotional type, shall we say, that went down extremely badly. So I think we're a long way behind where we should be with the Americans at the moment. And that is all so needless, because if they had been front-footed, lent into this in the way that they should have done, got stuff and assets all lined up, got the Americans in and supported the Americans in what they were doing from the beginning, then we wouldn't have this problem. You feel under Sir Keir Starmer the special relationship has been torpedoed? I think it's been dented, and it is the most important relationship that we have with any other country in a very uncertain, increasingly dangerous world, and it's a very unfortunate position to have got into. Chris Hope, you've got some more for us?
Well, no, looking at the image we're seeing there, we're seeing sailors lined up at the stern there, below the red ensign, or the white ensign, I think it is actually. And it reminds you, I think, that we are sending sailors to a dangerous, potentially dangerous war zone, and it's worth reflecting on that. It's an emotional moment. I think behind there, is that one of the aircraft carriers? I can't quite see behind the Type 45 there, but it is, to me, a moment here. If this Prime Minister, he's sending off a warship to a potential hot war zone.
OK, perhaps we can do we still have our guest on there, the naval analyst and the director of the website and Navy Lookouts, Pete Sanderman. Pete, looking at the live pictures on your screen now, talk us through what's happening and what's the craft behind and what happens next.
OK, so that's HMS Prince of Wales, you can see in the background. She was in a maintenance period, but that's been accelerated to raise her state of readiness. Although it doesn't look like she's going to be deployed for this conflict, probably be sent on the planned NATO deployment. HMS Dragon's proceeding down Portsmouth Harbour, escorted by the tugs. There'll be plenty of people to wave her off. It's always very emotional for families, knowing they don't know when they're going to see their loved ones again. I think the length of this deployment is probably hasn't been decided as yet. Subject to events. Obviously, there's always a risk when you send a vessel into a war zone. I would arguably say the personnel on Cyprus at the moment are in a higher risk position than the ships at sea, given the limited defences we have on Cyprus. I would say we were very lucky. For example, we had 300 people in Bahrain, which was attacked, and there's very little air defence there. So we certainly do have armed forces personnel who are currently at risk. Whether the amount of drones that the Iranians have is being depleted by American attacks, and whether they still have the appetite to attack their near neighbours, we'll see. But it's certainly a concerning time.
And Pete Sanderman there, we can just see at that moment the rear of HMS Dragon going out of view on the screens there, but a very emotional moment, as you say there. Procedure Alpha, some of the crew, at least on the rear deck, and you could see on the back, on the dock there, you could see a huge line of loved ones, of well-wishers, waving goodbye. And for any sailor, for any Royal Navy serviceman and woman, a hugely emotional moment, one mixed with pride, trepidation and foreboding of what may come.
Yeah, it's a familiar scene that's been repeated down the centuries as Britain has sent warships all over the world, some of which sadly have never returned. But yes, I think the families will be very proud of their men and women who are serving on the ship, who work incredibly hard. They're trained to a very high standard. Although our Navy has had a bit of a battering, its public image has had a battering in the past week or so, it's still a proud service. It still does have incredible niche capabilities. It's still respected by people who know what they're talking